Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chasing Psychological Safety. Today's topic, as you've seen in yesterday's article, is leadership, it's courage, it's doing the most of courageous acts in the presence of fear, and it's what we've learned from the horrible tragedy that's unfolding in the Ukraine. The reality of it is we all live through this moment now, and obviously we're not comparing ourselves in the rest of the world with the tragedy that the Ukrainian people are going through, and even the Russian people to a degree, but we are very clearly, all of us, under threat. And the type of cognitive dissonance we have to employ to just go through life these days is massive. We wanted to remind everyone that there's a really amazing lesson to be found in this, because it is inspirational enough to win physical battles. It is genuinely inspirational enough to help us go through our own personal mental battles with this. And we want you to kind of take a moment and truly acknowledge what's happening there. There's at least one individual, but probably hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other ones that are inspired by that, who are able to kind of keep this horrible threat at bay for all of us. And we have to be really grateful that, one, that it's happening, and two, that we get to witness it in such amazing real time. Now, obviously, we have to believe that that's all we're looking at, because if we were to believe that this is the last time we're talking before a big World War III, then we might have a different set of priorities, or we shouldn't be having this conversation at all. Equally, we can't ignore that we all have a life, and we all have work commitments, and there's these big enterprises that just keep going in what looks like virtue of inertia when we have so much bigger fish to fry. But to a degree, we also have to take kind of heed that it might be useful to be in that reality. Many of us are working with teams that are over there. This is, Fiona will speak to you a little bit about that. We have to be mindful of it, and we have to kind of allow for both realities, if you wish, and try and create a common one so that all of us feel less alone. The leadership lesson is amazing. The courage coming out of there is astounding, but the fear is shared. And the fact that we all need to be honest and say we do not know that tomorrow is guaranteed for anybody, in particular our kids. It is just a terrifying time. And just because we've simply come out of another time where that fear was equally real, it doesn't make us any better at taking the reality of potentially not being able to protect our children from really horrible things. So we don't have a lot of as practical advice as we would like, although we do have a couple of things we want to talk to you about that you can do. And we are working on something ourselves. But beyond that, just I think the only piece of advice is to give yourself permission to take in all the sides of this and see how you truly and genuinely feel. You don't have to feel a certain way. There is no prescribed easy way to go through this, but it's worth giving each other and yourself the space to do that exploration.
Absolutely. And I think, as Dwayne has just said, we are all of us dealing with a certain degree of cognitive dissonance around this situation. We're all of us dealing with what we can do, and on two levels: one, to cope and to be in a place where we can be sufficiently resilient to withstand what is occurring, and the other one, to be able to support where it's needed. So dealing with the first one of those first, we need now to make sure that we are at every juncture possible going back to that compassionate leadership and compassionate teaming situation that we found ourselves in at the beginning of the pandemic, because the stress, the ripple effect of the stress is pretty strong and probably still being underestimated at this stage. So every opportunity that you get as a leader or as a team member, please take the chance to have human conversations with everybody that you're speaking to. Set the time aside, create the space to talk about how people are feeling, how they are coping. So you've got two types of teams. You will have teams in your organizations that have got team members, teammates in the Ukraine, experiencing firsthand the terror of war. So deal with those first, of course. Make sure the space is created. If you're online with those people, your first port of call is to be human with them and to deal with their needs first and foremost, and then to support your team in supporting them and dealing with the stress of working closely with another human being that you care about, because people in teams do care about each other, and how to deal with that extra layer of stress and to support your teammate. And then there are just everybody. We're all experiencing a level of fear and stress at the moment because of the escalation, because of the conversations that are being had, because of social media brings this war into our daily lives, and it brings the threat of extended war into our daily lives. So at every opportunity that you have, please create the space for your teams to be able to talk about how they're feeling, because that dissonance is real. We're all carrying guilt that we're not there. We're all carrying guilt that we're carrying on with our daily lives, even making this video. We're all carrying care and compassion and wanting to help but not being able to. So there's an awful lot going on. And then we're also carrying, but I've got to answer my emails and get on with my day job. How do I square that away? So we're helping people to have open and honest conversations you can take to help at this point in time. We were also trying to work out what we could do to help. We all want to take a step in the right direction, do any small thing that we can to help in this situation. So we are dedicating ourselves this week to writing a new play that we'll put in the software, but that will also make publicly available to everybody in our networks, that will be focused entirely on creating space for conversations around fear and what people's fears outside of work and in work and how that's impacting them. So emotions equal behaviors equal performance, and that emotions equal behaviors bit is where we need to focus at the moment. How are people feeling? What are they fearing? And how can we help with the resilience around that? So that's going to be the one tiny thing that we can contribute to this awful situation. But in the meantime, as always, thank you for listening. We are here to help or talk if we can help in any way, and just stay safe. And thank you for listening.
Speak to you soon. Bye.